Today, as former President Donald Trump's defense team presents its case, we're going to welcome former Defense Secretary Bill Cohen. He's also a former Republican senator from Maine. And most importantly, as a freshman member of the House of Representatives, he was one of 7 Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee who voted to impeach Richard Nixon. So he is somebody that had to go on the record as a Republican member of Congress back in 1974, when very few ended up having to do that because eventually the president would resign. Bill Cohen, welcome. So, in fact, talk about that. You just heard Kasie Hunt describe that there are some senators thinking about personal safety has entered their minds and maybe having an influence on how they're going to vote. You felt pressure like that. Talk about that political pressure. You were part of it. You felt it.
Yes, we had similar pressure back then. There were threats made against me, my family. There were bomb threats. We had to evacuate the building that we were holding the hearing in. So the threats were there, and they continued even after that. But my wife and I were watching Saving Private Ryan the other night. We had seen it before, but we wanted to watch it again, to watch the men who stormed Omaha Beach, who climbed the hills with the Nazis firing down on them. These were men of the greatest generation. And I think about that because I have a friend who's 95 now who was part of the ones who landed. And all he could think about was defeating the Nazis and saving freedom. He fought again in Korea. And now when I hear that some members are afraid if they vote the truth, if they understand that this is what Donald Trump did, he attacked our democracy, and they're afraid, I want them to go back and think about the men and women after that who served us. I got a chance, both Janet and I got a chance to meet the Tuskegee Airmen, became friends with one in particular, Colonel Dryden. And he talked about how he had to fight against the Nazis during World War II and then come back and deal with the racism back here. These were men who had courage. And for members of Congress to say, gee, I'm not so sure. I know what the facts are. I know that Donald Trump was the fireman in chief. He's the chief marshal. Forget about all the arguments of whether he arranged it, whether he inspired them, when he watched. He was the fireman in chief, and he watched the fire burn. And while he sat back either eating chips or drinking some soft drink and took no action, that was an impeachable act. And any person in the Senate who doesn't recognize that as an impeachable act and votes not to convict, they don't deserve to have the word honorable next to their name. This is clearly a case where he violated his duty. He first tried to get the military to perhaps step in. He asked for President Putin to help him out. He asked for President Zelensky to help him out. He asked the Secretary of State of Georgia to help him out. Get me 11,780 votes. He asked the Vice President of the United States to help him out. And when they said no, he sends in his ragtag army as such, his Boogaloo Boys, the Proud Boys. Who are the Proud Boys? Anything like the Doughboys of World War I? Anything like the Greatest Generation? No. So I think every member on the Hill knows what has happened, the failure of the president to take the action required to protect and defend members of Congress, his own vice president, Capitol Hill, the police. I didn't hear any of the Boogaloo Boys or the Proud Boys say Blue Lives Matter. Where were the Blue Lives Matter signs? They were attacking them. They killed one and caused the death of others. So for members of Congress to say, gee, I'm not so sure I'll get taken to task back home. I might even be attacked. I'd say that's the burden you have because the Constitution is worth defending, and every one of our predecessors was willing to climb those hills in Omaha and to hit the beaches while they were being attacked savagely by machine gun fire. So I don't have anything to say about those who are acting in fear now.
I was just going to say, I don't think you have much empathy for that. Yes, I take it.
And when you look at the senators who are aligned so strongly with the president, they include Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz and others who have aspirations to run in 2024. They seem to feel that being aligned with Donald Trump, even after impeachment, no matter what happens in this trial, and we presume that there aren't going to be 17 brave Republicans who stand up, but we don't know that. But that
You know,
that is the position they should be with the Republican Party. What happens to our two-party system if one of the parties is aligned with someone whom, as you have described, has violated his oath of office and does not deserve to be running for president again?
Just think about the hypocrisy of those individuals who are thinking now about running for the presidency in the future. Just a year or so ago, they paid tribute to John McCain, lying in state in the U.S. Capitol, saying this was a hero. This was a man of courage. He gave up his freedom in order to allow other prisoners of war to go before him. So they paid tribute to him as a hero. They paid tribute to Brian Sicknick as a hero who tried to defend them. And now they're going to back up and say, well, we don't know. The president might call us out. He might list us on a sheet to say, don't support this person. I think every Republican member looking at that evidence has really no alternative if they're going to abide by their conscience, the truth, which is laid out by Jamie Raskin brilliantly, powerfully, persuasively, patriotically. And they're going to say, well, the Constitution says, well, the scholars on the Constitution, the overwhelming majority say, no, you can and should do this. And so now they're going to hold up the Constitution as a fig leaf to hide their naked fear and cowardice and greed for the office. So they're either afraid or they're complicit. Either one, it marks them as being really ashamed, I think, to say that they're a member of the Senate and didn't vote to protect that document to which they swore allegiance to.
Bill Cohen, former Secretary of Defense, former U.S. Senator, former member of Congress. I have to tell you, I will say this. We're going to make sure that your first answer to us and what you had to say there makes its way around social media so people can hear it. You had a lot to say. It was very important and it was very moving. Thanks for coming on and sharing it with us, sir.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.